Once I hit you with that bad space, you ain't coming back. No control, on the leech, you give me space. Like time, hit you with that bad space, you ain't coming back.
What up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the series where I play something I have no information about. The only thing I can tell you is we didn't make it that long. It's another visual novel. I feel it. I feel it. Now, it doesn't say like chapter select and such, but I feel it. After choices, skipping. So yeah, there's a lot of talking here, which means it's definitely a visual novel. I can also tell based upon the way that our good friends Radalaika use their logo. When they do a visual novel, it's a very animation-driven logo. But when it is any other type of game, it's usually a retro-fueled logo. If you're one of the lovely people that jumped on the last video with a comment, whether it was to answer the PYP or just say hello, here's the comment from last week that we picked. Boom. And the PYP for this week, or this video, I'm never going to stop saying that. Even though we do 7 videos a week, I'm still going to always say this week, like we're just rotating through an entire year in a month. But anyways, would you rather find out there is a perfect clone of you that is trying to take over your life? That's horrible. Or have irremovable nostril hairs that extend beyond your upper lip. Oh boy. Oh boy. I think I'm gonna take the what's his name? I can't even think of his name. You'll probably hit me up in the comments below about it. But Spider-Man's clone. He was a Scarlet Spider. His name starts with a B. I think it starts with a B. But anyways, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna beat my clone out. I'm trying to take my life over though. I'm gonna find him before he finds me, or even takes over my life. It's not happening. Because we're not doing the nostril hairs. It's not happening. And I don't know. Oh, Ben Riley. My brain just clicked there. But anyways, I like the idea of like pushing harder because someone's trying to take me. I don't know. Like it's like a competition thing. Competing with my own clone. But anyways, let me know in the comments below, what would you do? Find out about your perfect clone that's trying to take your life over, or deal with these extremely long nose hairs. Don't forget, they're irremovable. That's you. You just have to explain to people that that is a mustache that just starts deep inside. But anyways, let's jump to the game. As I said before, thanks to our friends over at Radalaika Games for giving us the opportunity to check out Autumn's Journey. Seems like we got elves, wood elves, but I see a book there, which means we're probably wood elves going to school. So let's see. Chapter, the end of summer. Because that means we're going back to school, right? Right? It's a wood elf school. Sunlight filtered through the... I was going to say dirty. The dirty birch. Through the airy birch forest as the lush ferns grazed my boots. I momentarily shielded my eyes before I turned north, treading carefully. The muggy atmosphere that had hung over the past few months was now being replaced by subtle crispness of fall. Though the trees were still vibrantly green, apple picking season was fast approaching for the town of Barry. I cheerfully stretched one arm towards the sky, inhaling deeply. And thus my weekly scouting for monsters, bandits, and anything out of the ordinary that may harm local citizens is over.
Right.
And that concludes my mission. I laughed, wondering why I was announcing my agenda to no one. Yeah, really? I guess I just always wanted to say that out loud. That's what you're yearning for? Walking around alone does prompt you into monologuing just so you can hear a voice. You know what it kind of does, though? I do talk to myself a lot. I just wish I wasn't restricted to freelance work in Barrie. Though, how long is my training going to last? I'm more than ready for knighthood. I can do this. I adjusted the belt holding my sword, making sure the hilt could be pulled out at a moment's notice. Humming, I decided to meander back to the village by following the thin river down the gentle slope. I love the terrain here. Not super rocky, but not entirely flat either. There was always an inclination, and higher up, I could get a breathtaking panorama of Barrie and its endless orchards. Especially in autumn, when the leaves were so vibrantly red that the entire forest seemed to ignite, and the smell of crisp frost and thick fallen foliage lingered welcomely. It was then I spotted something entirely out of the ordinary near the river bank, leaning against a birch tree. Thin birch trees were not exactly known to be comfortable resting spots, and it didn't... What? What? Do we have, like, a list that shows us, like, which trees are comfortable to rest at? And I did not recognize the stranger's attire. Hello, are you a traveler? His face came into view, and I realized he was sleeping, but that's not what caught me off guard. He had beautiful protrusions, resembling shale shards, jutting out of his long hair, right where someone's ears should be. Or was it a decoration covering his ears? I suddenly wanted to touch them. That you don't touch people. But I resisted. If he woke up in an untimely manner, it would be awkward to explain. Yeah, it would be, touching a random stranger's ears. At first I was about to leave, but then I noticed something else rather odd. Something else weird. From a simple glance, I saw no bags, no possessions, or anything else on him. This place was too far away from civilization for a simple afternoon stroll. Was he mugged? And if he had been in Barrie previously, I would have known. It was that small of a town. Curiosity won me over. Hello? A flicker of concern passed over my face. I grabbed his shoulder and gave it a gentle shake, finding his lack of response unnerving. I quickly hovered a hand in front of his nose. Sure enough, he was breathing, and I did not see any injuries that would suggest he was knocked unconscious. After some more feeble attempts to wake him, I decided to improvise a camp. What? I did not want to leave him unattended, and I knew I couldn't drag his butt. So you decided just to chill with him? I can't wake this guy up. I don't want to be alone, so I'm gonna camp here. That's weird. Tossing down my bag, I went to work. The fire crackled merrily on the birch wood as I opened my cloth, which contained a lump of rye bread and hard cheese. These were emergency rations, lest I was unable to return to Barrie. Mother and father were probably worried. Just as I was about to bite into the cheese, I saw a movement and glanced up, eyeing the stirring stranger. Setting my foot down, I cautiously shuffled over. I had previously placed his body in a supine position, I don't know what that means, and used my bag as a substitute pillow. Though it was probably more lumpy than anything else, it was better than nothing. Are you awake now? You've been out all afternoon. I was getting worried. I trailed off before I started rambling and watched him curiously as he opened his eyes.
Whoa.
This guy just woke up angry. In a split second, he shot up and then clumsily fell back. I caught his arm to steady him. Whoa! Take it easy. You just got up. He flinched from my skin contact and I hastily let go. Retreating slightly, I didn't get any sense of hostility, but he certainly seemed bewildered. Who are you? There was uneasy edge in his voice. Not quite one of panic, but more of anger. That's what I'm saying. It was then I noticed that his eyes were of brilliant amethyst hue, contrasting with his earthy hair tones. Better remain calm. Orally, I found you in the woods outside of Barry. The surprise did not leave his eyes. They darted quickly to his hands, which then covered his face. Lastly, he ran his fingers through his brown hair. The horror on his face was so unsettling that I dumbly sat there for several seconds, before mustering the courage to address him again. Are you all right? Obviously not, but I wanted a better grasp of the situation. He attempted to sit up again, but this time I was prepared. Again he repelled by my touch, and I gave up the desire to touch him that way. Okay. He still appeared unstable, but ceased his sudden movements at last. He actually did it.
The hell?
The hell? He clutched at his temples, his fingers grazing over the odd fixations in the places of his ears. He wobbled as he tries to stand, and I impatiently rushed to his side. Stop it. You obviously can't move in your condition, so you might as well sit down and clear your head. What is going on? Who are you? And what are you doing here? He looked at me as if he was registering me for the first time since asking who I was. Everything about him screamed overwhelmed, and he simply grit his teeth in frustration. I decided to find another angle to help him open up. I did not consider myself intimidating, but it was possible he had no desire to answer anything. Are you hungry? I softened my voice and returned to my spot by the fire. I grabbed the cloth and genially offered him the rye bread and cheese. He only arched an eyebrow in oh, okay, you don't want to eat that? That's fine. What is that? It's food. You chew it. I ripped off a piece of the dark bread and demonstrated. This is how you eat. Humming delightedly to show that it was edible. He scoffed and averted his eyes.
I don't care.
I don't want it. It looks revolting. Sorry my peasant food does not please my lord's taste. Whoa, that's a lot of attitude. His attitude was rubbing me off on me. Yeah, no shit. Calm down. If anything, he's hiding that he's scared. He did just wake up in a foreign place. Are you nobility? He fell silent, and only the occasional crackle of the fire and the hooting of owls interrupted the stillness. I leaned back and ruminated over my meal, careful to leave some food untouched in case he changed his mind. Ah, there was that apple tart too. I'll save it for later. I wrapped up the cloth, only vaguely aware that the stranger was examining my every movement. It nettled me slightly, but I decided not to comment. I did not want to do anything that would cause him to raise his guard even more. It was now dark, and occasionally fed the fire, getting the feeling I was going to be spending the night. After what seemed like an eternity, he finally spoke up. Who are you again? Orally. I'm from the town of Barry. And you? Kerr. He reluctantly uttered the name, gazing into the fire. He seemed much calmer now. And how did you get here? His lip curled, almost smirking unknowingly. You probably wouldn't believe if I told you. You have unusual eyes and a strange fashion accessory over your ears. I think I can find your story credible. He flexed his hand, scrutinizing his fingers carefully. I didn't come here willingly. Out of all the places, I don't see why he decided to drop me in this low-born, simplistic... Kerr? He glared at me as if I offended that I addressed him directly. So where are you from? I'm not particularly tied to any region. If it's not obvious already, I'm not one of you. He tapped his knee petulantly. I'm one of the dragons, an earth dragon. He stated it full of pride, with no ounce of humility. Dubiously, I inspected him from head to toe, taking note of the stone-like juts for ears and his remarkable eyes. He balked under my stare, but quickly regained his dignity. I balked. That's weird. His eyebrows furrowed fiercely. So why would an earth dragon be here? It's not because I wanted to. He blurted out angrily, then touched his unique ears for comfort. I sighed, then tilted my head from side to side as I absorbed his explanation. Alright, I'll admit, I'm not exactly accepting this as feasible, but I'm not dismissing it either. You can't transform back? If I could, do you think I would remain in this pathetic body, so weak? I instinctively patted my sword hilt to counter that remark, but stopped when I saw him attempt to stand again.
Whoa.
It was like watching a toddler take his or her first steps, but instead of cutely coaxing, I was fervently discouraging his efforts. We've already established that you're unfamiliar with your form. Besides, it's too dark to walk around aimlessly. I'll find a walking stick for you and we can return to Barry, if you'd like. It'd feel wrong if I abandoned you in this state.
I don't need your help.
Are you saying I can't handle myself? I'm pointing it out. Realizing we were both escalating our voices, I looked away in a huff, not wanting to have our encounter turn sour so rapidly. An altar. Huh? I need to find an altar. You heavenkin worship us, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean the dragonkind were here first, so it's only natural we pay our respects. I admit, I thought dragons were more divine and irreproachable. Kerr was definitely giving me a different impression. I barely knew anything about the dragonkin, though they focused on their own affairs. You will take me there? It was a plain statement, not a suggestion nor a plea. Why an altar? They're all heavenkind, kind, made. How would it help you? He parried my questioning exasperately. It doesn't matter. Do you know where one is?
Yeah.
Yes, there's one not far from here. There's a cave that leads to it. Relief washed over his face, and for once his scowl vanished. Good. We should go there this instant. He had obstinately tried to stand up again, but I lunged forward and firmly sat him back down. He gaped at me in disbelief, but my will was as stubborn as his. Morning. We will do this in the morning. Get some sleep and I'll find an ideal walkie stick. I don't think you'll master bipedalism without some assistance, especially not in a day, and it'll be difficult if I have to physically support you the whole way there. So just take it easy tonight. I'll even keep watch while you sleep. After my entreatment, he fell silent and gave a reluctant nod, closing his eyes wearily. I sighed gratefully, feeling mildly triumphant over the battle of pigheadedness. As Kerr was grumbling, I leaned over and pulled a small blanket out of my bag. The temperature was still pleasant, even at night, but it could cool rapidly, especially since it was the end of summer. After returning some items to my bag, I reshaped it so it was a passable pillow again and offered it to Kerr, who seemed puzzled by its purpose. Believe me, you'll need something comfortable or you'll have trouble sleeping. Worse, you'll wake up with a sore back and getting to the altar will be even more troublesome. You already slept on it once. I think you can figure out how to support your head with it again. I laughed sheepishly at my own stab at lightening the mood, but I could tell it wasn't working for Kerr. Disgruntled, he lay down on his side and experimented with a few positions before resting his head in satisfaction. At first, he refused to use the blanket, but as the temperature dropped, he discreetly pulled it toward him when he thought I wouldn't notice. Probably to hide his expression, he rolled over so his back was to me and the campfire. I had the feeling the initial shock took a lot out of him, and I admittedly hadn't helped when he'd ruffled my feathers more than once. Now that he was sleeping, though, any irritation I still felt dispersed along with the summer heat. I would need to be mentally and physically prepared for tomorrow, stay cool and collected as autumn. I poked the fire and stayed on my watch until exhaustion beguiled me into resting my eyes for just a few minutes. It's like a chibi version. And we're going to stop it right there. That's enough for me to be able to give like an idea of what this game's about. The story is... it's not really something I would jump into. You have this dude that just appeared out of nowhere. He's a dragon that's turned into a person. and he's a dick. Like I said, not really my thing, but maybe you guys want to see me play more of it. So let me know down in the comments down below. So until next time, remember, whether you're offline or online, stay focused and get yours. See ya.